Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome to Nadanam, a dance podcast. I'm Anup Karthik, the host of the show, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you join me here for another exciting episode. Get ready to dive deep into the world of dance as we explore everything related to dance. Whether you're a seasoned dancer, a passionate enthusiast, or simply someone who loves the beauty of movement, this episode has something special in store for you. But before we get started, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to all our listeners. Your support and enthusiasm means the world to me, and it's what keeps this podcast going strong. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Alright, let's not waste any more time. Get ready to be inspired, educated, and entertained as we embark on another dance filled adventure together. Without further ado, let's jump right into today's episode. So today we have Lakshmi Vishwanathan with us, and she is a Kathak dancer and a teacher too. She has been in the dance field for the last 13 years, and we're gonna talk more about Kathak the dance art form and the more about her journey. And so we're gonna welcome Lakshmi Vishwanathan to our podcast. And happy.
Anup, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and it's been such a pleasure to have you on, have you today in our podcast. And I would like to personally, I would like to know more about yourself and the art form called Kathak. So before we get into your journey and all those things, I would love to hear something brief about the art form first. So, in that way, the audience can know more about the art form, where it is originated, how it is formed, something kind of that. So, you can just briefly or in short, you can brief about the art form Kathak. Yeah.
Basically, Kathak is a Hindustani dance form, just like how Carnatic music and Bharatnatyam and Kuchipudi are Carnatic dance forms. Just like how Bharatnatyam and Kuchipudi are Carnatic dance forms, Kathak is a Hindustani dance form. So we base our dance form on Hindustani music.
Okay.
These days, of course, we are adapting our dance form to Bollywood style. We are bringing in a lot of Sufi literature. We're bringing in a lot of Sufi content, Sufi repertoire. But traditionally speaking, Kathak is a Hindustani dance form, and there are many Gharanas in Kathak, like many systems. You can call these lineages, and although the basic form of Kathak is the same for each one of these gharana has a very signature style.
Okay.
There are three main gharanas. You have Jaipur Gharana, and then you have Lucknow, Banaras. These are three main gharanas. Much later, we went into Raigarh. Now I also hear of Dakhini Gharana. I also did read about Dakshin Gharana. So these are all later developments.
Okay.
Mainly, we have the ancient Gharanas are these three: Lucknow, Banaras, and Jaipur. So I think you also want me to kind of tell you what the differences are, right? Because I'm sure we
Yes.
have a lot of dance enthusiasts among our
Yes.
audiences.
Definitely. Yeah.
Um, so see, what is the Rajputana royalty known for? It's known for its bravery, correct?
Yeah.
So that also shows in their dance, it shows in their music, it shows in the way they move. Um, so Jaipur Gharana is very vigorous. There's a lot of emphasis on footwork. There's a lot of emphasis also on very complex rhythms. And the dance, when you just gaze at it, the dance looks very elevated. Kathak itself is very elevated because it's one of the fewer dance forms in India wherein you do not have to sit in squatted position, like semi squatted position with
Okay.
your bent knees. So Kathak is one of the fewer dance forms which is danced with straight legs. Having said that, Jaipur Gharana, when you gaze at the performance, at least for me, the experience has been that the dance form and the movements, they look very elevated.
Okay.
If you talk about Lucknow, it's more abhinaya based. There's more softness to it, um, and there is definitely also more femininity to it because during the Mughal era, the courtesans used to take up this dance form. They used to perform mujras for the emperors, their patrons. However, we need to remember that mujra is a format of performance. It is not a dance form. So Kathak it evolved through many phases, through many phases. And
Okay.
then you also had Banaras Gharana, which is said to be a blend of the two, but there is still a difference of opinion about that. So each one of these Gharanas have a specific style. Jaipur is, like I said, Jaipur is really known for vigorous footwork, for quick spins. If you go into Lucknow Gharana, they focus more on bodily angles, they focus more on the tilts of the body, they focus more on, the little bit of swaying is there. So that is in brief about this
Okay.
art form. So, yeah.
Okay. Fine, fine, fine. So, just to ask one more detail about it, actually, this art form, this is the only art form I just read somewhere. This is the only art form that touches both Hinduism and Muslim or Islam something tradition, which is blend together and formed, and it is followed everywhere. And it is also a national dance form in Pakistan, I guess. So, just tell me something about that.
I'm not sure if it is a national dance form of Pakistan, so I don't want to
Okay.
comment on it.
Okay.
Um, during the regime of Zia ul Haq, dancing, I don't know about other dance form, but I think any dance forms, basically dance performance was banned in Pakistan.
Okay.
So that is a time when we had dancers like, you know, Guruji Nahid Siddiqui, if I'm saying her name right. She moved to London and she started her own space there, her own journey there. So we
Okay. She's
had
from
a lot
Pakistan,
of
right?
amazing dancers who are legends now,
Okay.
move from Pakistan due to this.
All
You
right.
know,
Hmm.
what was your other question?
The blend of Hinduism and the Islamic tradition, the only art
Yeah,
form
yeah.
which deals with it, So, yeah. So we'll talk about that in detail very soon. And now we'll come to your journey. How did you start your dance journey, and why Kathak in particular? So, did you start Kathak, or did you train some other dance form and came into how it is started? Just let us know about that.
Okay, so I'll first talk about this whole cultural blend.
Yeah.
That's a very good point that Kathak is a blend of Hindu culture and Muslim culture.
Yeah.
So when Kathak was basically Kathak in ancient India. It evolved as a storytelling tradition.
Yeah.
Both men and women in the temples, they used to tell stories, and that is how the form came to be. They used to
Okay.
tell Puranic stories, you know, tales from ancient India. Basically,
Okay.
Kathak is a storytelling dance form. That is why it's called Katha Kathak.
Okay. Kada means
So,
story. Yeah.
as Kathak dancers, one aspect of us is that we are Kathakars. We are
Kathakars. Yeah.
storytellers, very
Okay.
typically storytellers.
Okay.
Then the Mughals came to India, and with them, I think also Sufi came to India gradually.
Okay.
As the Mughal generations went on, Sufi culture came into India. So during the Mughal time, the dance form kind of softened. And I think it was because there were courtesans who were appreciated in the courts of Mughal emperors. And this is how the dance form acquired a lot of femininity and softness to it.
Okay.
And it also acquired a lot of abhinaya to it because it was performed in a different context, with a lot of grace and everything. And you can say that a lot of showmanship
Okay.
in Kathak, we call it chamak. At least my guru used to call it chamak. That also came, that also slowly evolved during this era because when you are a temple performer and when you are telling stories to a closed audience, it is done in a very devotional context.
Okay.
Slowly it became a form of cultural entertainment,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so very obviously a lot of rhythmic footwork started to be enjoyed, and that was encouraged by the artists. So that is the blend which we are talking about, and it's very interesting. Even in terms of costumes, we have a blend. So as a
Yeah.
Kathak performer, I've worn anarkali, and on other certain other occasions, I've also worn, lehenga, choli. So
Okay.
typically, when we are telling stories of Hindu gods, we would wear lehenga choli. If
Lehenga.
we are
Yeah.
doing, let's say, salami or one of those numbers, we would wear anarkali. But these days,
Anarkali.
it's not very hard and fast. A lot of things are being experimented with which I'm happy about.
Okay.
So yeah, that's about it. And
Fine. Fine.
talking about my journey, I've been dancing here in Hyderabad for a very long time. I've been part of Akruti Kathak Kendra for almost 11 years
Okay. Which is in
before I
Hyderabad.
quit it. That's correct. It's in Hyderabad. My
Okay.
Gurujis are Srimati Mangala Bhatt and Sri Raghav Raj Bhatt.
Okay.
So they are a very well-known dancing couple in the city, and they run the school where they encourage a lot of young talent, and we are a large group. So I learnt there. That was my beginning, and that is also my foundation in a very big way. So yeah, I've been learning there for 11 years, and when I thought I had completed my learning curve, at least to a large extent over there, I came out of it, and now, I'm growing as a solo performer,
Oh.
learning from other gurus. I'm building
Okay.
on my knowledge, basically.
Okay. So still you are learning from others now, right?
That is correct. Still I'm
Yeah.
learning, and it's from what I see, it's really amazing how each teacher has a different outlook to the dance, a different approach to the dance.
Okay.
And as I'm learning, I am also getting more versatile, both in my body and mind and my thinking.
Okay. Okay.
So it's been amazing. Not a lot of people know me in Hyderabad in the performing circuit.
Okay.
But slowly I'm trying to put myself out there.
Okay.
I'm doing more shows this year. I really aim to do more shows. I really aim to put myself more out there. Also do more corporate shows because classical dance form is really not elite right now. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
at
Yeah. Yeah.
least in terms of spirit, it's not elite. And I also want to do my own bit in making it accessible. In fact, the other day I was talking to a friend of mine. I told her that why don't we perform in orphanages? Why don't we perform in old age homes? We are
Yeah.
still going to be the same artists. Why don't we adapt to different platforms of performance? Why make it this whole
Corporate.
elite? Why
Yeah.
make this an elite dance form which is only performed in platforms where government patronage is there, or only in
Yeah.
popular
Exactly.
cultural platforms? Why don't we go to people and reach out to them in different platforms? Why don't we do that? you know
Yeah.
so this is one of my ideas, and I'm also exploring a few production ideas of my own, which
Okay.
will obviously take time. So you can say this is the gestation period we are talking about here. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great initiative you have been going through it, and I know it will take some time, but when it is meeting your correct goal, it will gonna be a blast. So you're gonna
Yeah.
work more on it, and all the best for it. So you were saying about your difference in your teachers perspectives. Can you tell me more about that? How does it actually different from each teachers? Yeah.
See, some teachers, they put a lot of focus on sheer footwork.
Okay.
Um, my it also depends on, see, as dancers we are also physically different, we need to realize that. So when we move as dancers, we look visually different, we look aesthetic in different movements. A certain movement in the dance form which might suit you may not suit my body.
Okay.
So, as teachers, I personally feel that initially, at least, if I have to talk about myself as a teacher, at least,
Okay.
I initially was always thinking about my viewpoint
Okay.
of what looks aesthetic to me.
Yeah.
Then I started to realize that there are different bodies expressing themselves. And as my Guruji often says, it's not just about the body. When you see a dancer moving, it also shows her mental makeup.
Okay.
So during my years of learning with her, a lot of interesting things used to open up in our classes. Like I had this habit of jutting my neck out. So
Okay.
she asked me, "Do you go out of your way to help people?" So it is almost like your handwriting. When you move as a dancer, it is almost like your handwriting. So
Okay.
over the years, I've understood that every student needs to be catered to differently. And if you talk about the different teachers that I've briefly learned from, each one is also different. Like I'm learning from Damini Bisht right now. She's a Noida based dancer.
Okay.
Her movements are very kind of rounded and circular. So I'm adapting to it.
All right.
And
Okay.
eventually I want to synthesize all this because it's me who is absorbing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the journey I'm on.
Okay, fine. So you have been into teaching for the last 3 years, you said. So within this 13 years of learning and 3 years of teaching experience, how do you balance your roles as both as a student and a teacher of Kathak?
Yeah. So I started teaching in the fag end of 2019.
Okay.
Just then, two waves of COVID happened. There was interruption because of it. But
Okay.
nevertheless, I have been having students and I have been teaching. So that's a little, if you really look at it, that's a little more than 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years, you can say. It's been a beautiful journey. But then what I want to see happen is I want to see at least a small bunch of youngsters who we call Gen Z. I want
Okay.
to groom them in a dedicated way.
All right.
So
Okay.
that's a
So
process that's on right now. So we'll see. It's been positive, touch wood.
yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm one of those performers who loves teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So as I teach, I'm also learning as a teacher. And when you break certain dance techniques up, it's very beautiful how it goes deeper within you as well.
Okay.
You understand your movement grammar, you understand your body, you understand your dance form much more deeply because you're breaking down the technique to somebody else.
Okay.
And it's really amazing when my students move, when I see that they've absorbed something from me, it's amazing to watch. It's almost like a parent watching her child walk for the first time.
Yeah, definitely.
As a
it is
teacher, I'm tough love. I'm tough
okay.
love. And
Okay.
I think that, to be very honest with you, that's one of the reasons right now I don't have a huge group of students because I'm tough love.
Yeah, when it comes to teaching, sometimes you have to be tough, and it is
Right.
different from different for each teachers as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. So when I see them pick up something, you know,
Hmm. Yeah,
when
yeah,
I
yeah.
see when I see them moving, when I see that they've absorbed something from me, it's really like a parent watching a child walk for the first time. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So what kind of approach do you take to motivate your students and make them to gain the knowledge, and uh, so they have to be in your mindset, right? So how do you grow them in your mindset and teach the basics in your classes?
So, as far as basics are concerned, they have to be learnt it the way they have to be.
Yeah.
Um that aspect of it is not flexible. At least I never made that aspect of it flexible. So, for the
Okay.
first 3 months, they are pretty much in a set process and
Okay.
it's a grind. So once they kind of get the dance form in their bodies and once their minds are set for it, a dance form is almost like a language. So
Yes.
when you talk in Tamil, it is said that you got the command over it the day you start thinking in Tamil. So
Yes.
only when you start thinking in that particular language, it is said that you've truly become fluent. So it's not
Yeah.
just the act of talking, right? So
Yeah.
similarly, dance form is also a language. So it's not just your body, it's as much your mind. So once I see that they've gotten it in their minds and they've gotten it in their bodies, once in a while I have them do a little choreography, a simple choreography. That way, they'll get to enjoy something apart from just lessons.
Okay.
So yeah, this is my approach. And I'm tough love. But when I do see that a child is getting, when I say child, I don't typically mean a child. Even a 20-year-old is a child for me. So
Okay.
when I see that a child is getting discouraged because of my tough love,
Okay.
I try and balance it out because I sense energy in a class. It's very important
Okay.
for a teacher to be sensitive in class. It's very important for a teacher to be sensitive to the energy in class, to the group energy, to the individual energy of students. So I
Okay.
keep all that in mind and I kind of balance my tough love once in a while. So yeah.
Okay. So, is there any particular example you have to talk about this kind of experience in your classes? Like, if you want to share about it, you can
Yeah.
share that
So
too. Yeah. Mm.
it is, it's a slow process. And I want to point out here that the idea of a natural dancer is by far a myth.
Okay.
Okay, when people watch us dancing or when people watch certain dancers dancing, they think, oh, she has it in her. She's a
Yeah.
natural. It's nothing like that.
Okay.
The more you are like a sponge, you'll absorb more, and it
Okay.
takes a lot of practice. So for my students, I demand that they have a good sense of rhythm.
Yeah.
It's typical not only in Kathak, but I think in any dance form. As a learner at a very basic level, it's a combination of having a good sense of rhythm and being good in your movement grammar. So for me, it's more important that the students get the tal. It's more important that the student have sharp ears. They have to sharpen their ears.
Okay.
I can correct their bodily movements. There, I'm very patient. But what I really demand from them is they pick up the rhythms right. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's especially important in a dance form like Kathak
Okay.
because Kathak is one of the dance forms where the dancer is completely aligned to the percussion instrument, which is tabla.
Okay.
So we most times we cannot go at half the speed of the tabla. We can't do all that.
Okay.
Our feet have to talk. It's
Yes.
almost we as Kathak dancers, we are, playing tabla on the floor with our feet. So I make sure that I inculcate a strong sense of rhythm in my students. Later, slowly, I work on their bodies and attitude. That's not a problem at all.
Okay. Great. So, being 13 years of experience and 3 years of in teaching, you have the both sides of the coin. So, can you share some of the significant pros and cons you have encountered both as a teacher and a learner of Kathak? Additionally, you can also say some of the difficult moments in your journey and how have you shaped your overall approach towards it. You can share that.
See, being a teacher and being a performer are actually two different facets.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Maybe it'll help you understand it a little more. Like we
Okay.
see a lot of yoga teachers who are themselves not super flexible, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But they're amazing teachers because they have a great understanding and they know how to break it up for you and teach it to you.
Definitely.
On the other hand, we see some amazing hatha yoga practitioners
Hmm.
who are extremely flexible in their bodies, but for some reason they don't click as teachers.
Yes.
Okay, it's the same thing. Being a teacher has got to do with your understanding.
Okay.
So that's what it is. At least that's what I've understood. And it's very amusing for me when I see my students make the same mistakes that I made during my learning journey.
Okay.
And I correct them. What else can I do, right? And it's a
Hmm.
pleasure to do that. And I'll tell you one more thing here. It's very humbling for me when my students get the things that I probably took 5 months to learn or 3 months to learn in a week or so.
Okay.
This was something I was just sharing with a friend of mine the other day.
Okay.
As a teacher, at least I feel for teachers who are still grounded, as it for teachers and especially for me, I'm speaking for myself here,
Okay.
there's nothing more pleasurable than grooming students who have much better caliber than you do.
Okay. That is an extreme
So yeah,
pleasure. I totally agree it.
it is. It is. So I want to see my babies leap higher than I have.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. So
as a
tell me.
performer, it's a slightly different journey
Yeah.
wherein I go through the grind myself
Hmm.
with my guru still in my
Okay.
advanced process.
Hmm.
And that is also a learning process, which is, it is enjoyable, but it's not a piece of cake, mind you.
Okay.
And it is intense, and that is why I enjoy it.
Okay.
Every day I go through strength training. There are days when I feel lazy to do my riyas.
Okay.
But I tell myself it's a commitment. It's a relationship I have with dance and I need to nurture it.
Yeah.
So I get up, strap my gungroos, and for that day there is no looking back. So
Great.
it's like having a meal, as long as you've done it for the day, you're set.
Okay.
I don't make it burdensome on myself thinking, oh, I have to do my riyas for the next 6 years to be up there. No, I manage to do my riyas on a particular day and I'm set. And on the days I'm feeling lazy, I coax myself, just like how we know we coax children to do things. I coax myself and I
Okay.
strap my gurus and do my riyas for 1 or 2 hours every day, and there's no looking back.
Great. Great. So can you share about some of the significant moments in your dance journey, or some difficult moments? So you can share that.
Uh, I won't call it a difficult phase. You must already be knowing that we are dealing with really young students, like what we term as Gen Z, and
Okay.
all of them are very social media oriented. At least most of them are very Instagram oriented. So
Yeah.
once in a while, I do get a few students who want to get on Instagram and make
Showcase
something out
themselves.
there. They
Okay.
say, ma'am, why don't we shoot something? I'm encouraging of all that,
Okay.
but I tell them, look, this is a relationship you have with dance and you have to nurture it. This is not casual dating.
Okay.
Okay, it's a serious relationship that you have with dance.
Hmm.
So unless you have your basics right, unless you are ready, I recommend don't put yourself out there. But I think we are living in one of those times, you know.
Yeah.
It's also a lot about how visible you are, how many likes you get, how many views you get. I
Yeah.
think it has two sides to this coin. So yeah, as a teacher, a couple of times I did face this challenge,
Okay.
and these are times when I have to meet my students midway, and I'm happy I've been able to do that. So yeah.
Great. Great.
So
Great.
I get quite a few students who are 6 months into the dance form and they already want to perform.
Oh. Okay. So
So
what do you
these days
say
I've
to
also
them?
become a little flexible. I don't, put them down or discourage them. If they're very keen, I put them for a performance on a very small scale and see how they do. Give them
When you
single numbers to perform.
Okay. So when your students are something like they wanted to do shoot some video after joining a few days later. So in your point of view, what is the good time, or when do you feel the student is ready to showcase herself, or kind of go for a performance? When do you feel and tell me about that? Yeah.
For starters, I wait to win their patience.
Okay.
So if they keep asking me to do it, for me it's a red flag. So unless I feel they are ready, unless I can clearly see that they've understood the language of this dance form, I usually recommend that they don't go out there. After that, they are free,
Okay.
you know. And in this context, I want to bring up one more thing, Anup.
Yeah, sure.
As Indians, we all know that the classical dance fields are, in certain aspects, they're very rigid, especially in terms of your Guru Shishya Parampara,
Okay.
where, old school gurus, even today, they expect their students to get their okay on everything,
Okay. Hmm.
That, to be honest, does become a little claustrophobic at times. And
Okay.
when I go out there as a teacher, I try not to be that.
Okay.
I try not to be that. My aim as a teacher is to groom them properly. What they want to do with this language of dance that I'm giving them is up to them. They can write a short story with the language, they can write a novel, they can write a blog, that is up to them. I
Okay.
don't own my students, I don't even own my art. I'm just a vessel, that's all.
Okay. Can you share
But if
kind
I
of a few
feel,
example so that we could understand it much more clear, if you could, like how?
see,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Carry on.
see, for me, I learned from very reputed gurus,
Okay.
and there is a downside to it. There is also an upside to it,
Hmm.
because being their disciple, you're also, when you go out into the world, you're also being known as their disciple.
Okay.
So that's a responsibility, and there is also this part of you which is an artist. There is this part of you which is a big time free soul, and I'm talking about me here.
Mm.
And I'm one of those people who don't curtail their minds.
Yeah.
I'm a free thinker. I let myself think. So it took quite some time for me to find courage as a solo performer.
Okay.
And but thankfully, over the years, I've also realized that their values as dancers and as human being also will always stay with me, um, no matter how creatively I work. The foundation they've laid for me will always be there, you know.
Okay. Yeah, definitely
So
it's gonna
yeah,
be there.
so
Yeah. Mm.
as in the future, as I go along as a teacher, my students are, welcome to experiment. They are welcome to work creatively. They're welcome to apply to festivals. I don't plan to curtail them, because when they go out there into the world, I always tell them that the brickbats are yours, the bouquets are yours, both are yours.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
aim was only to teach this language to you to the core. How you want to express it is up to you,
Up to you.
and it's yours basically. You're out there, and the brickbats are yours, the bouquets are yours.
Mm. Yeah.
But typically, being Indians, we do know that this is not how classical art forms work.
Yeah.
I don't typically feel very aligned to it, because I feel that even as we are shishyas, even as we are gurus, we are also individuals, both as human beings and performers. So,
Yes.
as long as that integrity is there to your craft, as long as that foundation is there, please go ahead and put yourself out there in whatever capacity you want to. That is what I tell my students. That's about it. But
Okay.
the integrity should be there in your craft,
Yes, definitely. So
because that is
that's
what you're building on at the end of the day. That's why you've come to me.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So lastly, what are your future goals and aspiration in your Kathak journey as a teacher and a performer? In near future, you have some goals or how it is going
Okay.
through? Yeah.
So I take every week as it comes, Anu.
Okay.
Cliched as it may sound, and this attitude is getting hardened in me as I get older and older. Surprising as some people might find it, I'm taking 1 week at a time. Literally,
Okay.
I'm taking 1 week at a time. So my plan right now is, what all do I want to perfect as a performer and a learner and a dancer
In a week.
till next Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
We're sitting on a Thursday right now. Till next Wednesday, what all do I want to polish
Okay.
and practice and learn? So each week I'm going about it in this way. It is one step at a time, because it can't possibly be any other way.
Yeah.
Of course, having said that, in parallel, I'm also working on certain production ideas.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll be able to garner support for it. I'm
Sure.
putting the thought out there in the universe. I'm being positive. Uh, I'm giving out happy thoughts into the universe, and I'm also working at it. So these are pretty much my plans. It'll be too premature to talk about what those ideas are,
Okay.
but they are there and I'm working on them. So yeah, but
Definitely.
as a learner who is working on her craft, who is trying to polish her craft, advance her craft, it's 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
And even
Okay.
as a teacher, it is pretty much 1 week at a time.
Yeah. So I'm sure that everything what you gives will come back to you in a much better way. So all the best for you. And if you want to share anything in particular to your students or to your teachers or to each one who are listening to this or watching this podcast, you can share anything to them. This is your
I
time.
have nothing
You can
to,
also tell about your
sorry.
classes, venues, and something like that too. Yeah.
Um, I really wish that students have more stickiness,
Okay.
because when you're learning a classical art form, it is long term. Okay, so that's one message that I want to give them. There are no shortcuts.
Okay.
There are no shortcuts. You will find once in a while you will go through a class which is super boring, but when you get it right, it's also very pleasurable. It's also like when you get, let's say, when you get a particular talam right, it's like a eureka moment, you know?
Yeah.
So to have that pleasure, you need to go through stuff. You need to go through your learning. There is no other way. And as far as my teachers are concerned, I have nothing except gratitude to give to them. Um, Mangla Didi, Raghav sir, and Damini, who I'm working with right now.
Okay.
We work every week. She meets me every week. So to all these guys, I have nothing to give except gratitude. So yeah,
That's great. So thank you so much for sharing all your journey through this podcast. I definitely wish all good luck to you, and see you in another podcast with some more other profound stuffs in regards to your journey and the art form called Kathak. So thank you to
definitely.
come to our podcast, and see you soon in another podcast. Thank you so much.
When I have something new to share, when something takes shape, I'll definitely do a podcast with you. I would love that. So
Sure,
let's
sure,
keep
sure.
this going.
Yes, yes, definitely. Whenever you are ready, just ping me up. We'll do a podcast. Sure. And tell us
Definitely.
about your experience on this podcast today.
Anup, I think it was very free flowing.
Okay.
Uh, it was a very, it was a lovely experience, to put it in a short way. This is, I think this is my second podcast,
Oh, that's nice.
and
Yeah.
this is one of the first. Actually, it's my second podcast, to be honest with you, and I loved talking to you.
Thank
I
you.
hope my message also reaches people,
Yeah.
and I hope we get more people to join our community. That's very important. We don't work as lone soldiers here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah, I'm
So,
happy that I did this podcast. So thank you so much for having me.
thank you. Thank you so much. You can also just tell where is your classes running, when is your classes running, and kind of stuff, so people can watch this and come to your sessions as well. Please speak.
So I teach in our sacred space, and
Okay.
right now we have Sunday batches running. We work every Sunday evening for 2 hours. We do a class from 5 to 7. Our sacred space, Sikandrabad,
Okay. Fine. That's great.
right? And I also work with another dance studio called Cosmic Dance Studio. That one is in DD Colony. So
Okay.
there, I'm there every Saturday and Sundays. But as we go along, we are planning to make it Sunday mornings, every Sunday morning for 2 hours, basically.
Fine. Great.
So these are the two spaces I work with. I'm slowly beginning to take more students in my personal space, in my residence. So
Okay.
I live in Alakunta. So
Okay.
there is a small space that I have at home. It can fit a few students. I already run a small batch in my residence itself. So
Nice.
you can say these are pretty much three spaces I'm right now teaching at. So we'll
Okay.
see how it goes.
Sure, it will definitely go well, and I appreciate your teaching career and your presence throughout this journey. So, I wish you good luck again, and thank you for coming to our podcast today.
All right. Thank you so much, Anup. Keep in touch.
Yes, thank you. See you.
And that wraps up another fantastic episode of Nadanam. I hope you enjoy diving into the world of dance with us today. Before we go, remember you can stay connected with us on social media for more updates, behind the scenes content, and exciting announcements. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Nadanam, a dance podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving us a review on any of your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners who share a love for dance. Thank you once again for tuning in. Until next time, keep dancing, keep dreaming, and keep spreading the joy of moment wherever you go. This is Anup Kathak signing off. Take care and dance on.